Welcome to the Fight Game. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and we're going to discuss the Haney Progress fight. And Progress had me cracking up after the fight because they were asking about the fight, and he said, "That motherfucker good." So it was interesting to see, the banter before the fight, the trash talking, and all this other stuff. But he was like, "Hey, I could not catch this guy. I couldn't catch him." It was a unanimous decision. He won every round. I'm speaking of Devin Haney, and he looked faster. He looked stronger. He looked like Devin Haney in this fight. And I'm thinking, maybe 140 and up is a little bit better for him because he didn't look like that with Lomachenko. He looked really kind of like he was struggling, trying to keep his energy up, all this other stuff. So yeah, it was a dominating fight. Haney just would not let Regis kind of get his power off, get his punches off, cap him off balance most of the fight. Like I mentioned last week, the footwork of Haney and his style was just too much for Progress.
Yeah, the sad thing about it is though, we've heard and we've known Prograis to be a puncher, a guy's a little bit more dominant and going for the knockout, likes to punish people. But when you go and you start to look at the numbers, right, as far as his inability to land punches because Devin Haney was moving and tapping him, and it's almost like he got stuck in one gear, right? They didn't make adjustments, or it didn't seem like they were trying to make adjustments. And like he said, he just kind of got beat down because he didn't think that guy was good as he was. Talk about Haney, that is. But for him to say that is, you kind of think about that one trick pony type situation. And, they really didn't talk about the numbers, but Haney was very impressive. He's at 140, looked real good. Um, took the belt from at 140. Now he's like a junior welterweight champion. And what can you say? The only thing I can say now though is Prograis. Okay, I hear that, and I know there's uh, the way that things are going. I know there's the hierarchy, and I know there's a way that they go about the business. But the people are saying now, stop the BS, man. Let's give the people what they want. We know these fights are out here. So you can't say that anymore. The fights are out there. You don't have to any longer worry about whether or not it's going to be a Showtime or HBO. Somebody's going to pick it up. But with all that being said, granted, Haney was very impressive at 140. There are a number of fights at 140 that he can still have. But let's, and not just Haney, but the other folks, let's stop the BS. Give the people what they want. 2024, I told you what my mantra is. Throw that bullshit out the door. 2024, we need to have what the people deserve, the fights, the matches we want to see, right? It's time. You got to pay for it. Bring it to us. It's out there. Again, 2024, throw that bullshit out the door. Give us some real fights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of the weight classes, and these guys are kind of, for me, they're kind of playing in these weight classes and seeing who is the best bang for the buck, is what I want to say. And so when I heard that Haney was talking about Garcia, I can, I don't really want to see that fight, but I can see where it will pull money, especially during Mexican holidays, where you're going to have viewers that are going to sit there and watch the fight. So it's almost like in boxing, Roy Jones said it best, like the boxers now don't want to really fight the best fighters to see who's the best. It's all about how much can I draw at the gate, how much will Showtime or PBC or whoever will pay for this fight, and the money has gotten in the way of kind of really seeing who are the best fighters in whatever weight class, whether you're in 135, 140, 147. It's like they're trying to pick and choose who they want to fight to get the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way too now, but there's so many avenues that you can go. I mean, if you go to the 140 now, I mean, Devin Haney's up there, but you got, I mean, an excellent fight would be Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez Jr., right? Teofimo had a hell of a showing last time when he defeated Josh Taylor. hell of a showing. Devin Haney's come off a hell of a showing, right? You can do that, and of course they mentioned about Ryan Garcia, but everybody know what it is. I mean, it's to the point where we're hearing Tank Davis is going to have another like a 2 month fight or something, probably at 135. But he says after that he's going to call out Devin Haney. The question there is they're trying to act as if Tank Davis is blown up 135 pound, 130 pounder, right?
Right.
And he really doesn't want to come up to 140. Devin Haney is going to come back down to 135. That's why he let the lightweight belts go. But at the end of the day, it's a fight we want to see. So let's figure it out. Where is it at? Is it a catch weight, whatever it is, and let them get into it. We're hearing stuff about Tank Davis maybe fighting Isaac Cruz again. I mean, who wants to see that, right? I mean, we want to see these fights, same way too, where you move up, where we have the even with the heavyweights, show us the fights. You know, I mean, the one thing I will say about this, and I don't like to jump on one way or the other because you look at Top Rank, who they have under their umbrella. Also, you look at the match, right? The match folks, who they have over there too. But the guy that's the people who are in the command seat right now is PBC.
Yeah.
Because they got to fight the fighters that you want to see. Canelo's with PBC. And with them signing this new deal with Amazon,
yeah,
they got everybody. You got Crawford. The one thing I will say, people, and I want to say one way or another, but I am going to mention it. People want to talk about PBC and Al Heyman and all horrible stuff, but they always find a way to pay the fighters. And despite all of the negative press that you hear about them, BBC, you always now see the best kind of gravitating towards, because that's where the money is. Terrence Crawford was over at Top Rank. He gravitated towards there and starting to get paid. Canelo was over here with the Zone and their group, whatever. He started to gravitate towards. So they could put out a hell of a card. You got guys like Keith Thurman that's been chirping for a while, whatever. The thing struggle now is I think Boots Ennis is trying to find a place to go. He might end up with the Zone and Eddie Hearn. But the problem with that is you are the champion now, but everybody's over at PBC. So you got to learn how to play the game. You might want to call Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford tell you he was waiting on that damn Pacquiao fight for 99 years. And it never came because I think Bob Arum was trying to save Pacquiao. But he finally said, once my contract's up, I'm going over to PBC and get this money. He has not looked back since. He has a lot of offers on the table. The other thing about Terrence Crawford, the possibility is, even though it may not happen, but because he's in the right place, he can afford to whisper that I will fight Canelo at the right weight. If you were still over at Top Rank, you wouldn't get that fight. Not saying you will anyway, but I'm just saying you have to start putting yourself in a position where the people that you want to fight are.
So I know I'm going to get beat up for this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I look at all the different, the WBC, the WBA, WBO, IBF, all these entities. I see it as the problem because people can fight under these different belts and be the champion and one. There are too many belts out there for me. And I think if we narrow down, I know it's just a fantasy of mine, people are going to get upset about this. If we just narrow down and they all came together and they had a ranking system where everybody had to fight to get, to become the number one, number two, number four, number five contender, to get up to the championship or earn your way to get a championship, I think boxing would be much better to me. And instead of having these separate entities that seem to operate in silos, and if you're not with this particular group, you're not going to get this fight, this, that, the other. I know it's a fantasy. I know some people get upset, but it just seems like these boxing entities are getting in the way of good quality fights happening. And then when these fights do happen, sometimes it's way past the fighter's prime. You're not interested in seeing it anymore. It kind of keeps out people that really to me have earned. And I think the boxers have figured that out where they're like, I can pick and choose the fighters I want to fight instead of fighting the fights that will that the people want to see for the most part, and that will make you legitimately the best in that division. Screw being the WBA champion, and then you got a WBC champion, and you guys won't fight until 5 years down the road if you ever fight. Screw the IBF and WBO and all that other stuff. It's just too confusing, too divisive, and I think it's really hurting the sport of boxing. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that, but I think the issue is going to be with all of these entities, they have the ability, that's how they make their money. And they now have the ability to add some things like lineal champions, right? So you can make room for other people, which I think is a travesty. But those that hold the purse strings are now really being major uh, com- competitors to, deterrents, I will say, to us seeing the fights that we want to. But you either like who you like or you don't, right?
Right.
So, people are really mad at PBC because they're like, well, they got all the fighters, they're not gonna let them fight. Well, I think they will, but I think that I agree with you about the too many titles, uh, too many titles, too many associations. But I don't know if that's ever going to go away because if it's uniform, it's one group that's going to control it and go that way. But I hope that we're getting closer to seeing some things. I do have a question for you though.
Sure.
So we're going into 2024. I know we have some other things coming up, but give me three fights that you want to see in 2024 that could possibly happen on any division. What are three fights you'd like to see and looking forward to possibly?
I was anticipating this question and I wrote it down and I'm looking through my phone right now because I actually wrote it down because I was looking at um, this. The fight I want to see in 2024 is, and there are a few of them, Davis and Haney. I want to see that. I want to see that. Beterbiev and Baval. I want to see that. I also want to see Carnelo and Benavidez, and one more. I'm gonna add one more. Joshua and Wilder. I gotta see that. I gotta see Joshua and Wilder for the heavyweight.
About nine, ain't it? No,
I mean, because I wrote them down because when I was looking at 2024, I'm like, who are the fighters I really want to see? Um, and there's one more too. Lopez, Telefino Lopez, and Ryan Garcia.
oh wow.
I would like to see that fight. Those are fights that are not set up because I know we got the Fury Usyk fight and we got some other fights coming up in December. These are the fights that I want to see in 2024 that aren't set up yet. That if you really want my attention and want me to kind of dig in and stay in front of my TV, these are the fights I would want to see in 2024. How about you?
Man, you would ask that question when I want to see Usyk versus Fury. I do because everybody been talking. I'm so tired of the little dude saying he's gonna be ready. I want to see if he's that good, and I think Fury's gonna really show him what time it is. Let him
I'm
on.
still I'm still picking Usyk in that fight.
That's just great. Little man, let me tell you something.
I got an affinity for the little man in
Yeah,
the ring.
little man. So I think I want to see that fight because I think it's gonna be compelling. It's gonna be a hell of a fight, and we get to see finally if the little man is the real deal, and whether or not Fury is gonna come in and give us what we're looking for as far as being in shape and putting in a great effort. I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to that. A fight I think I told you before that I thought I'd like to see is, and I'm not sure what happened, but it's at 140. I want to see. I like to see Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney.
Hmm, that'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
they're both great boxers. We saw what Teofimo did last time when he gave Josh Taylor a boxing lesson. I would love to see that. They would come at it. It would allow Devin Haney to keep proving that he's the real deal, right? I know we keep calling his name out there, but I think that's a legitimate challenge for him. Yeah, I definitely want to see Gervonta Davis versus Haney. I mean, that's just because
Mm-hmm.
they've been talking about it for a long time, and just hope they get the weight right. I'm not sure if they'll get it done in 2024 because I think it's too much him and Han, but I love to see that fight. Um, Another fight I like to see. It's a little bit different, and now that he's back, I like to see Benavidez versus Jamal Charlo.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know if it's going to happen right now, but if Jamal Charlo can get himself back to where he's capable and get his mental on point, I think Jamal Charlo can give Benavidez a nice little run.
Interesting.
You beat the big brother, and I think he would give David a little trouble too.
Okay.
I think he would give David a little trouble. And one last one. I mean, I could go all over the place, but the other one too, just because we need some give back, and I want to look. We need a little give back. We need to straighten some folks out. I need to see Jamel Charlo versus Tazoo.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jamel Charlo versus Tazoo, or even Jamel Charlo versus Tazoo, because everybody been chattering, saying whatever, and I think this would be a great fight for Jamel to kind of come back and show that he had a bad night. He went in deep waters. He should have stayed in the 8 feet. He went to 12, and he need to come back and get himself together there too. And trying to think, there's one other fight that I want to see. I said to Zoo and Charlo. The other thing too is Jamal Charlo versus Caleb Plant
Hmm.
because of the slap. I need to see that.
Grudge match.
Yeah, I need to see that. Jamal Charlo versus Caleb Plant. I like to see those fights. So
And I want all these fights to be commentated by Snoop Dogg. That's my only request in 2021. Some of these fights to be commentated by Snoop Dogg.
let instead of messing up like that, just let him look. Well, we don't need his commentary. We just need him to perform at the halfway point or something.
It's
How about
cool
that?
too, but I need to hear, some real hood kind of comments. I went back and watched the Nate. It was the guy the guy who got knocked out. And the color commentating that Snoop did with Nate, the basketball player.
Robinson.
And yeah. And I was like, man, I missed this. I gotta have more of this. They did it like one time. Like, you can have the professionals. I think Sugar Ray Leonard was on the side of him too. So you can have the professionals there with the announcer, but give me some more Snoop Dogg and my.
Okay, so I'm with you on that. But let's leave that to the entertainment, right?
Yeah, okay.
Let them do the Jake Paul fights.
I would even invite Snoop Dogg to be the color commentator in the NBA games at this particular point instead of Doris Burke and Doc Rivers. And we did that on the other show. Give me something that's real. Give me something that's entertaining during the game that make me want to listen, and then give it to me from somebody who's like us, like watching the game and just kind of being free with what they would say during the game. It'd be like your boys just sitting around watching the game and you just making comments in the game. I can live with that.
Hey, we have to figure it out, but I don't know. I got I think that's the purity of boxing.
Yeah,
I want somebody to have an idea what the hell what they talking about. I
right.
mean, I get it, and maybe you can have that on the side channel or on Tubi or something like that, right? Sponsored by Tubi, whatever. But
Got
you
a
know,
duck, cuz. You got a
or
duck.
BET or something. That could be the extra. The scratch channel they call it, the scratch channel. Look, put all the other stuff on there, the scratch channel, but I still need a little bit more legitimacy. I will be interested to see how Amazon and PBC move forward. Uh, who the announcers going to be? How they're going to go about presenting it? But I am tell you this: I am so glad that they picked it up because I still think boxing is a legitimate sport and something worthwhile watching. So I'm glad that. So for those that still ain't no Al Heyman, you might want to send him a card or send him well wishes because we were this close, perhaps, to not having boxing being shown.
Yeah. You need all these rounds to win, cuz. You need a knockout, cuz.
When you come back to the corner, yo, cuz, I don't know what to tell you, baby. You down 9, bro. You got to pull a rabbit out your hat, like that man said on TV.
I would welcome it. I'd welcome it with open arms. That was the best part of the night, other than the knockout. That was the best part of the night. Any other boxing news we should be aware of?
No, man, we just like I said, getting ready. Hopefully, in 2024, they have a festive 2024 coming up. But we just hope we get some good news for signing up some fights. It sounds like Gervonta Davis may be one of the first attractions to appear on the PBC network, aka Amazon Network, in 2024. So wow. I think they're going to open the door with him, and he's going to be looking at, like you said, Devin Haney down the road. But there's going to be maybe three fighters they want to put out there, and one of those will be Gervonta Davis early on.
Okay, and then we got the heavyweights coming up on the 23rd. We'll talk about that in the next couple of episodes. But he's Icewater, I'm Puma, and this is Fight Game.